Yo, what's up, everyone? Yeah, I just wanted to do a follow up from my last video, with the Kev Brown. I do what I do, elastic stage versions of his album. So, yeah, as I stated in the last one, I ordered two copies of this record. One of them played flawlessly. The other one was skipping like crazy. And I also mentioned a bunch of other differences that I noticed when comparing it to other records that I have. Um, so yeah, the one that was skipping, I went ahead and contacted elasticStage customer support. I did that on October the 7th. Um, and like I was saying in the other video, I just had to answer a couple questions, and then they shipped it out. See, they shipped the replacement out to me. Um, Good news is that it came fast. So I contacted their customer support on the 7th of October. I received the replacement record, on the 21st of October. So yeah, very fast shipping, and like I was saying in the other video, their customer service is very very good. Yeah, they got back to me quick. I just had to answer some questions, and then the record came to me quick too, which was always nice. So yeah, this is it. This is the replacement record, and I am happy to report that this new copy that they sent me does not skip. So yeah. What I'm gonna do is put this through its paces now that I have the two copies that I need. And again, like this review that I'm kind of doing is through the eyes of a DJ, mainly the turntablist type style, with scratching and doing doubles and trick mixing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna spend some time putting this through its paces, and I will report back to see if I notice any other changes comparing these to a standard record. All right, y'all. Yeah, I spent a couple days testing with these elastic stage records, and I have some thoughts. So initially, doing backspinning and other turntablist techniques, I didn't really run into any issues. Over the years of practicing, when you're using traditional vinyl, I don't want to call these vinyl, but normal vinyl, you really have to develop a soft touch. So I have the touch that I've developed over the years from practicing. So they weren't skipping as normal. Like I've had vinyl where it's just been like really bad. It's just like don't even do any backspinning because they skip so much. But yeah, I'm happy to report that that's good. But unfortunately, I did run into kind of a deal breaker of an issue, and it has to do with the way turntablists mark their records. So yeah, I'm gonna have to nerd out a little bit and explain it so that you understand what's really going on. So hold on, let me explain it. Okay, let me give you just a brief explanation, because like I said, I need to explain what is going on. So as I'm sure you've noticed, there's now a green sticker on both of the records. When you're doing turntablist type methods or techniques, the normal thing is to use stickers to mark your records. So, and there's various ways to do it. You can use these types of stickers. I've seen people use small stickers. Some people don't even use stickers. They use their headphones. But me personally, I use the sticker method. So when you get two copies of the same record, What you want to do, and again, this is coming strictly from a DJ perspective who does turntablist techniques. Um, what you want to do is, it doesn't matter where you mark your record. For me personally, like I like to put it on at the one of the song that I want to manipulate, and then when I go to a different song, like it's not always gonna be in the specific spot as that one song, but I tend to mark my record at like one of my favorite songs on that side. And what we like to look at this as like a clock. So as you can see, if this is a clock, this is 12 o'clock right here, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and so on. So one of my favorite songs on the A side that I was messing around with is this one. So as you can see the top of the song is at 12 o'clock. So when I mark this one record, the key to doing this correctly is you want to mark your other record at that exact same spot. So that's what I did with this one. See, keep in mind these are the exact same records, same side, same song, and like I said, I marked this at 12 o'clock. Okay, and yeah, like I was saying, marking your records this way makes it easier to do turntable techniques. So the issue that I've never seen this before out of all the records that I have a lot of records and I've never seen this before. So I practiced probably for like probably like 2 days with just like this one song, trying to come up with patterns. So I was like, okay, I think I got something down. So then I went to another song, and then this is where the problem came into play. Okay, so this is the issue that I'm talking about. So as I previously stated, I marked both records at 12 o'clock on a specific song. So what I've done now is I've moved my needle to a different song on the same side. And this is actually the second to the last song. This one's featuring Grab Lover. So keep in mind, like I marked the record at 12 o'clock on another song. So in traditional vinyl and all the records that I've had that I've marked that I have doubles of, when I go to a different song, sure, it's not going to be at 12 o'clock because I set the 12 o'clock mark for that specific song. But when I go to a different song, it should always link up with the corresponding record because I marked them in the exact same spot. And the issue is that's not happening. So let me show you. So I have this song right here. Woo! So this is the top of the song right here, and that's at like a little after 6, or probably like right at 6. Woo! Woo! So yeah, this one's at 6. Now when I go to deck 2, look at where it is. You see that? It's almost at 12 o'clock. So I've never ever seen this before. I don't know what this means, honestly. All I know is like this is a deal breaker as far as using this for turntable techniques, because the marker is pivotal in doing certain techniques, especially the fast techniques. So yeah, I'm just not sure why it's like this. The number of songs on each side is the exact same. Um, Keep in mind, like, one of my copies was bad, and I had to get elasticStage to send me a replacement. But so, like, normally when I buy doubles of different records, I'll buy two at the same time. But there have been times where, like, I've been buying records for a while. So, like, let's say, like, I bought a 12-inch single from a record store, and then years later, I was like, oh man, I really like to have doubles of this to mess around with. So, like, either I'll track one down online, or maybe I'll luck out when I go digging one day and I'll find the exact same record. As soon as I bring it, get it home and mark the record, no matter where I am, like, I could be at the first song, the middle, just anywhere on that side, wherever I initially put the marker and I put them in the, match them up, no matter where I go on that side, it's always in sync. So I don't know if this is in the way that elasticStage cuts their records. Like, maybe they're not starting at the exact same spot. Maybe when they're like, I'm just not an expert of how records are cut, but like this is just something that I've never ever seen before. So yeah, hopefully, I know I had to nerd out a bit, but hopefully that makes sense. But to really drive it home, I'm gonna show you how it really, how it normally works for me. So let me grab some other records, non-elasticStage records, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. Okay, so I grabbed my doubles of Kev Brown's Fill in the Blank. And keep in mind, these are not elasticStage records. So the example I'm about to show you is how things normally work. So yeah, these are the two copies. Okay, so on the left deck, I marked on a specific song at 12 o'clock. Let me show you. Okay, so that's at 12. And then on the right deck, I did the exact same thing. Okay, so yeah, everything's normal. Like, this is how the elasticStage records perform. But watch what happens when I put the regular records to a different spot. So I'm just going to put it like right at the beginning. Okay, I got that one set. So that's a little bit like at 3 o'clock, a little after 3 o'clock. So this is the start of the record. So let's go to deck 1, do the same thing. Okay, I'm at the beginning. You see how it matches the left deck? It's right around 3 o'clock or a little after 3. And that's the difference. So I just don't know what is causing that to happen on the elasticStage records. Hold on, let me give you one more example so you know that I'm not tripping. Okay, so yeah, example number 2. So I have Kev Brown and Jay Cyanide's drum machine tape cassette, the first one. So yeah, I have doubles of it. So one on the left, one on the right. I marked at 12 o'clock at a song that I would like to mess with. So let me just show you.
Where people cry to sing. Where people cry.
Okay, so that's at left deck is at 12.
Where people cry to sing. Cry. Where people cry to sing.
Right? So the right deck is marked at 12 as well. So now let's pick a different song. So I'll go to the last song on this side. Okay, so on the right deck, it's like a little past 12.
Yo.
Now let's go to the right deck. Again, a little past 12, so they're in sync. And then as for one final test, I'll go to the very first song on this side. Okay, this one hits around a little before 3. All right, let's do the same thing on the right. Okay, so hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. So on a regular traditional non-elastic stage record, where you put the mark, as long as you sync up the mark wherever you initially put it, no matter where you put the needle on the record, whether it's song 1, 2, like however, whatever song you put it on, it's always gonna, your mark is always gonna be in sync with the other record. And that's just not happening with the elastic stage one. If you recall, like initially it was like, I marked them both at 12 o'clock for one song, but when I went to another song on the same side, the mark drifted. So again, I'm no expert in how records are cut, but there's definitely an inconsistency with the way those elastic stage records are cut. So they vary from record to record, I would say. If you're just a regular listener and you don't get 2 copies, and you're not DJing and you're not doing turntable techniques, then like this would not even apply to you. So this is definitely a very unique case because, although record sales and popularity have exploded in the last year, not last year, but just overall, probably like the last 5 to 10 years, the majority of people who buy records, they they just want to listen to records. There are some DJs who still use doubles, like actual records for doubles, but I would say in the DJ culture, the majority of people have switched to the digital DVS system. So this doesn't even apply to them because they would just buy just the digital copy, or just buy one copy of the record, rip it digitally, and then just use it on in a DVS system. So yeah, I realize that this is a very very unique case, but I just wanted to point that out, because although I do use traditional vinyl and also DVS digital Serato records, this is it. It's going to be an issue for me, because the whole point of me buying two copies of the same record was to try to do what I do on traditional vinyl. But with the way the markers on these elasticStage records aren't staying in sync throughout the side of the record, that's just a deal breaker for me as far as doing turntable techniques. And I didn't display it, but it was actually doing this exact same thing on the second side. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I could I could use these in a set, but I just wouldn't be able to get busy. I wouldn't, if I were to use these in a set, I would probably just use one copy, or I would only try to get busy on the record, on the track that I marked at 12 o'clock, because on that first one, it stays in sync. Like wherever you initially set it, it stayed in sync. But I'd be curious, like if I were to try to get two more copies, or if the two copies I got were both okay, I wonder if it would still be jacked up. But I can't really test that, because that first record I got was in such bad shape. So yeah, hopefully that explained everything correctly and you were able to see. Unfortunately, I had to nerd out a bit, because this is kind of I wouldn't say it's a lost art, but using vinyl, traditional vinyl, not all DJs do it. So yeah. So yeah, I'll be back with some final thoughts on everything to wrap this up. Okay, yeah, let me just give some final thoughts on my whole elasticStage experience. Again, I purchased 2 copies of Kev Brown's I Do What I Do LP. One copy was flawless. I ended up having to contact elasticStage customer support to get another copy sent to me, because the second copy I got was skipping like crazy. Yeah, I gave full examples in part 1 of the video. They sent me a new copy very quickly. That one worked flawlessly like the first one. And yeah, I just gave you a breakdown of the issues that I had, coming strictly from a DJ's perspective. And then on top of that, as a turntablist perspective. So very niche market, or group of people. So I realize, the issues that I have, especially from the DJ side, will not apply to the majority of people who purchased this product. As I was saying in part 1, like the quality of the printing, the sleeve jacket, everything was nice. The inner sleeve was nice. I had no complaints about that. As far as sound quality, I do have the original press of the instrumental LP, and I did some testing as far as sound quality offline. There's no need to put that on YouTube, because of the compression. You won't be able to tell the difference. And I would say sound quality on these is good. Not as good as this press. I would say if we're going scale from 1 to 10, and this is a 10, I would give these probably around an 8-ish. Definitely up there, but there's certain ranges of sonically that these aren't hitting. And as I did more of a deep dive into the differences when I was, I could tell that these aren't true, like, mass produced records. The material's different, so yeah, it makes sense, but they're nowhere near as whack sound quality wise as, like a bootleg or something like that. So I do give it up when it comes to the sound quality. It's not, like, they're not really comparable to a standard record. Especially if you've been listening to vinyl for as long as I have, you'll definitely be able to tell sonically. But again, it comes back to you have to have an ear for it. So it kind of comes back to, like, what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss, I want to say. So, like, if you're a diehard record collector who gets, those insanely expensive turntables, you get crazy expensive speaker system, and then you were to throw on an elasticStage record, you'd be like, you're like, what the heck? Get this out of here. So yeah, if you're a record snob, you would definitely be able to tell for sure. But if you're just a random person who, just getting into vinyl or has been into vinyl for a while, but, your collection isn't extensive and you just, it's just all about the music. And, you don't get the expensive head shells and all that stuff, speaker system, you'll be fine. Like with what are those ones they sell on Amazon, like those Audio Technica and Crosley turntables. Yeah. If you're in that boat, then you're not going to have any. These will be fine for you. My only warning for anyone who's going to purchase through elasticStage is, as you saw, like, I had an issue with one of my copies, and also Kev Brown, his first test pressing that he got from elasticStage had issues. So yeah, there's definitely some type of quality control issue going on with elasticStage. But again, like, getting another copy of the record was painless and it came very fast. So hopefully I'm a unique case, and other people who bought the record just didn't get a bad copy like I did. I've been searching online just to see other people post about it, and I saw probably 2 other people posted about getting this particular record, and they didn't seem to have any issues. So yeah, I'm really hoping that my experience has been a unique case, and not everybody who purchased this will have issues. All right, so I guess the final question is, who are these records for? Like, the type of person, like, who would purchase these, or who would I recommend purchasing records from elasticStage? Mainly all the things that I just mentioned. If you're just a casual record collector, you just want to, you want to support the artist, and you want a physical copy, because again, like, collecting records has really taken off over these last 5 to 10 years. So like, sometimes some artists, they put out limited runs of records and they sell out in like 10 minutes. So I get it. So yeah, if you just have like a standard setup, one turntable setup, minor speakers. You know, you're not buying super expensive equipment. Then I would definitely buy these. Um, from the DJ standpoint, I would say you if you're a DJ, you can probably get by with these if you have no intention of doing any type of trick mixing or turntablist type techniques. So like, you know, you're just a strict mix DJ, or in your set, you know, you can do turntable stuff, but like if you were to use one of these, like I would probably just mix this in. Um, because that's where the biggest flaw of these elasticStage records came in to play, was when I tried to do advanced turntable trick mixing techniques. So again, that's probably like I'm probably in what, like the 5-10% of DJs who do it. Yeah, of course there a lot of DJs do scratching and trick mixing, but the majority of them have switched to digital, and they either don't even purchase records and they're using controllers, or they're using Serato records, digital records, and are just getting the digital copy. So if you fall into that camp, I would say you're better off going to Kev Brown's Bandcamp page and downloading the digital version, and then just using your DVS system, and that way you won't even have to worry about that. Um, yeah, that's probably all I have. But again, like, yeah, it's unfortunate because I really wanted to um, use these for turntable techniques. I mean, I guess thinking a little bit more on it, I probably could, but I would have to I would have to put a sticker on every song. Um, I wouldn't. Yeah, it would just be full of stickers. So, and again, like I went through a lot of my records, and the behavior that I'm seeing with these is definitely specific to these elasticStage records. Like, I've never never seen behavior like this. I tried. You know, my Kev Brown collection is very robust. So I went through the majority of that, and then I went through a lot of my 12-inch singles. I even went through 45s, and this behavior just did not happen. I've never seen marks just drift like that across a record on a record that was already cut. So yeah. Again, like I realize I'm in like the 5 to 10 percentile of people who will even see this issue, but yeah, I just wanted to let it be known. But yeah. Other than that, like the quality is decent. You know, I pointed out all the other stuff in part one. The only thing that I can't really test right now is longevity of these records. I'll be interested to see, because when I was doing the initial testing, I didn't use them long enough to have burn to see how the burn-in would work with these Q burn, but yeah, that'll be something. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'll make a part 3 in a year or so if I'm still using these things, to see longevity wise. But I would say if you're a DJ like me and you want to do turntable techniques, I would say just to keep an eye out for the original press, because I want to say there's there's 2 versions. I think this is probably like the 3rd or 4th reissue of this. So I don't know. Just keep your eyes peeled the next time you go digging. Who knows? Maybe go to Discogs to see if somebody selling them on the cheap. The only whack thing about that is like I like to support the artist. So when you buy used, of course you're not really Kev Brown's not seeing any of that money. So who knows? Maybe he has plans to do a legit reissue of this, because then you won't. For me, I wouldn't run into that issue. But yeah, that's been my experience with elasticStage. Because of my style of DJing and how I use the records, like for my peers, I wouldn't recommend buying these. Like if I wouldn't recommend elasticStage records to a turntablist or a trick mixer. But everyone else, as long as you get a good copy, I would totally, as long as you get a good copy and you're not what they call a record snob, aka a audiophile, I would get it. So that's probably like 70%. 70% of music listeners, I would say to buy this. But if you fall into the turntablist DJ, or if you're a audiophile type of person who likes to pick out the waveforms and see how things hit with various audio devices, and raging online when the quality doesn't work, and you're all about first presses and vinyl sounds, if you're one of those cats, then I'd stay far away from elasticStage records. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for listening. Hopefully that helped you. I'm gonna put some links in the description, because I did find out some more information excuse me, on how elasticStage cuts their records. One of my mistakes was I just did my initial research on strictly YouTube videos, but when I dug further, I went into this Reddit thread, and one of the co-owners of the company, of the elasticStage company, because of course people had a ton of questions. So yeah, he broke things down a lot more in detail. So yeah, and that kind of like, it explains why I was able to point out all those weird oddities in part 1 of my video of this. So yeah, I'll put the link in the description for that. But yeah, thank you for listening. Listen to me babble. But yeah, take it easy.